14 months. That bond does not have value, but the family have value and the government need to support. So I support these regulations and say whatever financial implication is, it needs to be implanted so that we can identify ourselves and give these people a good medical attention as they increasingly retire and continue their life needed to go to heaven. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ndikiri Mugambi, for those passionate contributions. There being no more interests, the mover will now reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I reply, I would like to point out a few issues that have been raised by some members. Honorable Speaker, this scheme will not attract any further contribution from the public servants or those are in the civil service. So there's no need of having it voluntary because it will carry everyone on board because they are already contributing in SHA. So that concern about the payslip should not be there. And Honorable Speaker, public servants are in different categories, including state officers like us. We are categorized as state officers and many other government institutions where they can be able to pay for their own people or the people who are working under them. So in this case, those that have never had that avenue for an institution to pay for them, this fund now comes in handy. And those are the civil servants, yeah? Those who wake up very early in the morning, leave offices late working for the Kenyans, they also need to be dignified through a medical scheme that also bridges the gap that is left by the SHA. So the issue of discrimination may not arise here because those other people, those other Kenyans are usually taken through what we call mean testing instrument. And by virtue of that mean testing instrument, someone is placed at a level that you can be able to pay because these others are actually their fund, the SHA fund is actually through the payslip. So, Honorable Speaker, without belaboring the points, because I had already moved the motion and all the points are clear, and this committee is only supposed also to look at the various compliance with the Constitution, the Parent Act, and any other enabling law. Honorable Speaker, I thank all the members who have contributed in support of this motion, and I beg to reply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Robert Gichimu. The question to this motion stands deferred to the future, and the House Business Committee will next schedule it for the consideration of the House. Next order.
Order number 17, motion, consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of selected state corporations.
Mover. Yeah, this one was to be moved by Honorable Wangwe. Yeah. You want to speak to...
Honorable Speaker, this matter was raised earlier when the substantive speaker was on the chair. We need to be guided because we have a supplementary order paper. That's what we are told to make reference to. And the supplementary order paper, Honorable Speaker, order number 15 is just the matter we have just concluded. From the Committee on Delegated Legislation, order number 16 is the one for consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of selected state corporations. This being a house of record, can we be so sure which order paper are we using? Is there another supplementary order paper, or is that what has been uploaded on the app, National Assembly app? Is the wrong one? What's the issue? So that we put this matter put the record straight. We don't want any busybody outside there to raise concerns that a matter was discharged that was not on the order paper of the sitting. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Undo, we are on order number 17, the motion on consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of the selected state corporations, which was to be moved by Honorable Wangwe. Is your order paper speaking to the same?
The order paper that's appearing on the tablet here on this gadget we normally use, order number 17 is the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024 by the Honorable Naisula Lesuda MP, which is due for second reading. There must be a confusion somewhere.
Yeah, thank you for drawing that to the attention. I hear you to be saying that what is on our digital system is different from the printed order paper. That will be taken up by our ICT department. We will go by the order paper in print form. I think we proceed in that manner. Honorable members, I was informed by Honorable Wangwe that he would be out of the house, engaged in other state duties. So this particular order will be stepped down to the future. Next order.
Order number 18, the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024, second reading.
The Honorable Naisula Lesuda MP to move.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I would like to take this opportunity to thank God for giving me this chance to finally move this bill, the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill 2024, which I had started to work on a long time ago, and I am happy to move it now. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all members of staff who have worked tirelessly with me to make this possible under the stewardship of the able clerk and the Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to thank the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, led by the Chairman George Kariuki, for interrogating the bill extensively and coming up with solid recommendations that will enrich the bill. I would also like to thank the Ministry of Transport, led by the CS, Davis Chirchir, and the Kenya Roads Board, and everyone else who sent in their comments that will definitely enrich this bill. Mr. Speaker, I thank the cycling community of Kenya, including one of us in this house, Honorable Passaris, for their insights and push the entire time I've been working on this bill, and the Worldwide Fund for Nature Kenya, WWF Kenya, led by the former Director of Communication, Judy Kosgei, for their immense support and input the entire period. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, a cyclist who has been a champion of a holistic, non-motorized transport system and a just road system in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, you know that most of the time when I rise on this floor, I am discussing matters Samburu West. But I'm very happy that today I am discussing a matter, or I'm moving an amendment to a bill that touches on each and every Kenyan in every part of this country, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I rise as a Kenyan, I rise as a representative of millions of Kenyans whose voices and footsteps are often ignored because they do not drive, because they cannot afford a car, or move from point A to B using a PSV or matatu, but because they move on foot, on bicycles, or in wheelchairs. Honorable members, today I rise to sponsor the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill. At its core is about justice, dignity, and safety on our roads. This bill is not about who you voted for. It is not about which side of the aisle you sit on. This bill is about Kenya. And it is about ending the systemic justice that exists on the Kenyan roads. Let me be clear. The current road design framework in our urban and peri-urban areas excludes the majority. Our roads are built for motorized vehicles, as if only those with or in cars deserve to move safely. As if dignity, safety, and access are luxuries reserved for the few who prefer or can afford motorized transport. But honorable members, what happens to the millions of Kenyans, the real majority, our children who walk every day to school, hard-working Kenyans who walk to work, to the market? What about the cyclists trying to survive in our chaotic road networks? What about people with disabilities using wheelchairs, struggling to cross highways that were never designed with them in mind? This bill is all about them. This bill seeks to make it mandatory that all new roads and any roads undergoing major repairs or upgrades must include safe, accessible, and designated infrastructure for non-motorized transport. They must have cycling lanes, pedestrian walkways, and crossings that uphold the basic human right to move safely. Honorable members, how many more pedestrians must die? How many more cyclists must be left bleeding on the tarmac before we act? Every day, we lose lives that could be saved, not because of natural disasters, but because of policy neglect. Because we chose to build roads for cars, not for people. Because we keep saying not now. Because we keep saying the budget will not allow. Actually, most of my colleagues have asked me or were telling me, where will the money be found? And it has continued to be an excuse, Mr. Speaker. And meanwhile, another family buries a loved one who simply tried to cross the road. Let me also speak about health and climate. We all know the burden of non-communicable diseases in Kenya. We all know the link between physical activity and good health. Imagine if more people could safely walk or cycle to work or school. We would reduce traffic congestion, lower our carbon emissions, and promote healthier lifestyles. We speak passionately about climate change on the global stage. Honorable members, but what about the choices we make at home? Are our roads climate smart? Are they human-centered? Are we building a Kenya where the only safe way to move is inside a vehicle? And yes, Honorable Speaker, Kenya is now like a construction site. Thanks to the securitization of the Road Maintenance Levy Fund, we have resumed over 500 stalled road projects. That is commendable. But I ask you, how many of those roads under this renewed funding model include walking and cycling lanes? Are we simply repeating the same exclusionary patterns of the past? Are we rebuilding injustice with fresh tarmac? Honorable members, I urge you today, stand in the shoes of the pedestrian, sit in the wheelchair, ride the bicycle, feel the fear of the mother crossing the road with her child and no zebra crossing in sight. Today, their lives are in our hands. Their safety lies in our vote. Their dignity rests on whether we choose to design Kenya for all or for a few privileged. This is not a radical bill. It is just a reasonable one. It is not about politics. It is about public safety, human rights, climate change, and social justice. And before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I know that many of my colleagues and even those who have accessed this bill online have asked me about the bodabodas, Mr. Speaker. It is important that I mention here that the bodabodas are part of the motorized transport according to this bill, because I define non-motorized transport means all forms of travel that do not rely on an engine or motor for movement and includes walking, cycling, and mobility assistance devices. Non-motorized vehicle also means any vehicle that is not self-propelled and includes bicycle, wheelchair, and scooters. Well, a pedestrian is a person traveling on foot, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to indulge us to think about it. Every day when you're driving to work or when you're going home, who are the majority? Is it those who are in cars, or is it those who are struggling to get where to walk, to work, or to school, or to their homes, Mr. Speaker? If you check Wayaki Way, because I use it every morning and evening, it is an expanded road that has nowhere, no beginning and no end. There are no markings, there are no lights to it. You don't know which lane you're taking, Mr. Speaker. I think all the involved authorities, Kenya Rural, Kera, Kura, Kenha, they have to be accountable, Mr. Speaker. When you use Ngong Road, a road just ends. You can imagine even the number of accidents we are having, leave alone now wanting the walkways. A road just abruptly ends, there's a blockage somewhere there, and if you use that road last night, you're not sure how to use it the next day, Mr. Speaker. And also, I know that for a fact, Nairobi City, or the Nairobi Metropolis, when we had the NMS, take over Nairobi County, Mr. Speaker, they really tried to do the walkways. If you just walk around Nairobi, I know even the Nairobi County right now is trying to do it, Mr. Speaker. But the thing is, sometimes you find a walkway, it ends abruptly to a ditch. So even, I'm sure in areas like Kileleshwa, areas that people even in the evening would want to walk. So as you're walking in the middle of nowhere, there's a ditch. You have to come back to the road before again you get to that pathway, Mr. Speaker. And so these are not matters that are out of this world. It also does not take rocket science for us to think about them and implement, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we don't even have to have a law to have pathways, to have a place where people using wheelchairs can use on the roads, or cyclists, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we're legislating just on our bad manners as a country. It's just simple bad manners to have a road that has no access for someone who wants to walk, for someone who wants to cycle, for someone who is on a wheelchair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also signages. It's terrible in our country. There are no signages on where we are going. Also, we have bad manners. If the signages are put up, those who want scrap metal also steal the scrap metal. And we have to get a little bit organized as a country, Mr. Speaker. Also, on the issue of us benchmarking, most of us have traveled out of this country, Mr. Speaker. Even those who sit in those authorities and the Ministry of Infrastructure and those who are supposed to effect this, Mr. Speaker, they travel out of the country. They enjoy walking in those pathways out there. There are even beautiful parks. You sit on the parks, you walk around those parks, Mr. Speaker. But when we come back home and we say we have just gone to benchmark, what happens? You just get back into your cars here and nothing happens. I enjoy to walk myself. I think because I'm a Samburu, so I walk. Many ask me, how do you keep fit? Oh, you just had a baby the other day. You're back into shape. You're back into form. It's because I like to walk. I walk every morning. I enjoy where I live because I'm able to walk. I enjoy going to Karura. But sometimes, also when I'm stuck in traffic, like yesterday, I would enjoy just to get out of my car and walk. Some of us don't have enemies. We are not afraid of anyone in this town, in this city. Would like to walk, Mr. Speaker. But I need a pathway. I need a walkway to walk on, Mr. Speaker. The bill also touches on our counties because we know that there are some roads and our counties will be involved in this. So it also touches on our counties, Mr. Speaker. And so the bill, I know that I've noticed that there's one issue, clause 9. The idea on clause 9 was that the already existing roads, we give it a maximum of 15 years. because, I mean, just getting the resources for all the roads across the country, we can give it a max. So maybe, not maybe, we will have an amendment so that it is clear that when this bill is assented to, and I do pray that this House passes and the President assents to it, when it is assented to, any other road that will be designed, that will be built, Mr. Speaker, in our country will have the walkways and the pathways and also the cycling lanes, Mr. Speaker. But immediately. But for the existing roads, we can give it a time frame. And I will be proposing that we give it 15 years, Mr. Speaker, so that we ensure that we include that. I know the whole issue about expenses and how expensive it is, Mr. Speaker. The loss of one life on the road is already too expensive. And also, I know for a fact that even some of our roads, we exaggerate the amount. If we are truthful, if we are not corrupt, if we use the resources that have been given to us, not so that there is a markup for a kickback, but to do the right thing, Mr. Speaker, there will be money for that walkway. There will be money for that cycling lane, Mr. Speaker. And so this excuse of we have money to do all other manner of things to get kickbacks from the contractors and things like that, but we are saying we cannot be organized. We have African countries just here, just go to Rwanda. We cannot keep comparing ourselves to our neighbors every other day. We want even other African countries to come to Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and say that Kenya is doing the right thing. And as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to say that the bill, we will be having penalties. I have seen that even in some areas where there are already existing walkways, Mr. Speaker, you find buses parking. They use the walkways as their parking lot. You find boda-bodas using it as their parking lot. And now when you're trying to walk, you don't know where to walk, Mr. Speaker. There has also to be penalties for any motorized transport that parks or uses. If you, I'm sure as you're driving, you see buses crossing over to where the pedestrians are walking or the cyclists, Mr. Speaker. And so this bill just doesn't touch on the health of Kenyans, on the effect on the climate change. We cannot be talking about climate change big in the big stages, but when we come back home, we do not have such kind of spaces. And so I do pray that we will support this amendment. I urge you that you support the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill. Let us make Kenya walkable. Let us make Kenya cyclable, livable for everyone. I do thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Who is seconding? Beg to move and give us the person seconding.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do beg to move and request Honorable Oundo to second.
The Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me at the onset to sincerely thank Honorable Esuda for this well-thought-out bill. Let me also congratulate her for having had the courage to move to where we are. And Honorable Speaker, I stand here to second and sincerely thank all those who have worked to get to this level. Many of us, Honorable Speaker, hardly ever get to this level with such a controversial bill. I'm a victim of such circumstances, but I really don't care. But at least once we get where we are, it's a good idea. Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying one time I was in Houston, in Texas, and where I was seated, the debate was, who is the owner of the city? Are they the motor vehicles or the citizens? Of course, coming from the third world country, our priorities are completely different. I hardly ever had an opportunity to make any positive contribution. At the end of the debate, they concluded the citizens have got a superior right compared to motor vehicles. So they said whenever there's any conflict between the right of a motorist and a pedestrian, the pedestrian's rights takes precedence. And I think reading this bill, listening to the mover, passionate as she has been, I'm inclined to agree with the conclusion of the debate that the city, the country, everywhere belongs to the citizens, not to the motor vehicles, not to the motorists. Honorable Speaker, I also want to draw attention that in my other life, when I was doing my PhD thesis, and I did on urban form and its impact on land values and the kind of things, one of the issues that came out very clearly that has got a bearing to the land form of any urban area are the means of transport, both motorized and motorized. You would find it was some kind of some conclusion that Kenyans, Nairobians specifically, would prefer to stay far away from the city where they can get motorized means of transport because the city is not habitable for non-motorized dwellers. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, again, before I came here, I was involved in a consultancy, and I always hope one day it will come through, the non-motorized design of Nairobi City. The issue of the viaduct, the issue of the so many other things. Some of the recommendations we made were being implemented by NMS. Unfortunately, when NMS collapsed, the current regime, and I have nothing against the MPs from Nairobi, who have been unable to push their governor to do anything, that matter went to a dead end. But that's a story for another day. Honorable Speaker, let me also draw a story normally of my age mate. He's called Levi Mwasigadi. We normally meet where our SC to talk about current issues. He always wonder why, when there's a plane crash, there is always headline, which only kills very few people in a year. When you look at the 3,000 or 4,000 Kenyans who die on the road, majority, 80%, are pedestrians. Why do they die? They die simply because they have no space on the roads. The roads have been taken over by motor vehicles, by matatus, by now the emerging phenomenon of above the law border borders. Kenyans have nowhere to walk. Honorable Speaker, I am a researcher and somehow I like researching. One morning, just stand around Uhuru, on the way from Kibra. You see the sea of humanity that walks to Nairobi, to the CBD. Honorable Speaker, if we could have much more non-motorized paths, Honorable Speaker, many of us, I even included, I would prefer to walk because I find the gym a bit too cumbersome. I would prefer to walk so that I can maintain a certain body weight. As you age, some of those things becomes important. So, Honorable Speaker, the bill before us is so important that everybody, wherever they are, they must take notice of this bill. Because what the gracious lady has said, he has said several things. Number one, all roads being designed after the assent of this bill must provide for pathways, non-motorized place, for cyclists and foot pedestrians. To me, that is such a revolutionary thinking that we cannot even have a debate. I hope the president will not be pushed and moved by some interested parties to probably return under Article 115, which ties the hands of the people. I hope the Departmental Committee on Transport will not have to be, coerced by some parties elsewhere to make amendments. Honorable Speaker, it is sometimes very cumbersome. You are on the road, besides you, a border is on the edge. Besides you, there's a cyclist on your edge. Besides you, there is a foot pedestrian who has nowhere to go but has to walk along the road because the footpath are either not existence, they are waterlogged with water, they are packed with the transport trucks calling for customers. We must, Honorable Speaker, really address these challenges. Another matter that I would want her to have addressed, Honorable Lesuda, a matter that we ought to have addressed and which I would wish you to address are security lines, dedicated security lanes on any road. Honorable Speaker, I shudder always when I'm on the road and then the ambulance is blaring behind you. You have nowhere to turn to let the ambulance go and discharge or deliver a patient that requires emergency medical attention. Honorable Speaker, this can be done such that to an extent that those ambulances, those footpaths, those lanes dedicated for fire engine, for security operations, should never at any given time, Honorable Speaker, be used by any other person other than those dedicated persons. So we'd want, with the indulgence at the Committee of the Whole House, we make that amendments so that now we make it necessary and a must for us to have the same. Honorable Speaker, when you go to clause 8, Honorable Speaker, provides that the Principal is Act amended by section 50, the traffic police